guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rise. We're back here at Parks Lincoln in Tampa, Florida, and guess what? I have that three-row crossover luxury SUV that really is getting some changes for 2025. It's this vehicle right here. This is a 2025 Lincoln Aviator. This is the top dog trim known as the Black Label. But before we get into this refreshed twin turbocharged luxury crossover SUV, let's talk about what's going on here. So the Lincoln Aviator is finally getting some changes for model year 2025. Of course, we've been talking about the Nautilus, got a total redesign. Navigator, we're soon gonna have for you that 2025 redesigned full-size Navigator. But the Aviator, like I said, is that go-to for people who want three-row usability but don't want full-size. This is a three-row mid-size crossover SUV. Now, the Aviator has been around since 2003, if you could believe that, and a lot has changed in the auto industry, especially when it comes to luxury and technology. So why don't we go ahead, let's dive into this Aviator and find out, is it the best new mid-size three-row luxury SUV you should be buying? Let's go ahead and find out. Right off the bat, classic Lincoln colors. The white with the black accents pop nicely in the sun. At the front of the business is where you're going to start to see some of the immediate change. All new headlight housing and design. So we have those projector beam LED headlights, LED daytime running lamp, and then as we work our way down, you have this area here which would have been perfect for an LED fog lamp or a functional corner air curtain. So I am going to zonk it. The good news is that they did a great job with the platinum white and the trim that runs along the bottom, but some extra lighting would have been a nice addition. Now, as we come across the redesigned grille, it's got sort of a concave shape to it. Love the way it's got all these shiny, bright metalwork accents. The classic Lincoln badge that does house that forward-facing camera. And then working our way down, we have a little bit of that chrome style, and then you have gloss black on the lower grille with that platinum white lip. But looking at the front of it, really nice to see how they cleaned up the style by bringing the refresh. And even the way they did the daytime running lamps, it's kind of really interesting how they made it intersect into the actual grille. But let me know what you think about the new face of the Aviator. As we rise up, you have that nice smooth hood design, how it flows into the top of the grille. One single indentation, and then everything else curves around to the A-pillars. Now, as we curve around the front fender here, what do we got going on? New wheels and tires. So machined aluminum, V-spoke design, very multi-spoke design all the way around. This is a 22-inch wheel. Tires are 275 on the width, and you got a 40 series sidewall, all four corners. We have adaptive suspension, and of course, this is all-wheel drive. Another favorite thing that I love about this Black Label is everything is painted. So no flat black, no gloss black, very classy, very timeless design. As we come down the rest of the vehicle, the way they do their badging, really great, how they kind of blend it in with a little bit of trim. That Aviator name, you do have power folding mirrors, some gloss black, your turn signals, and then a little bit of body color. I like the way that they just paint the A-pillars black instead of doing the two-tone. You can do two-tone, but I like the way that it's just the A-pillar that's blacked out with the platinum white. We have a little bit of bright shiny metalwork along the top, and then it's a little thicker on the side. For some reason on the Black Label, I feel like the chrome style brings that classic Lincoln look. Let me know how you feel about it. Obviously, they do have a jet black appearance package that is new for 2025 that you could add to make a lot of the shiny stuff be a little bit on the darker side. Along the bottom here, you have this chrome trim like a butter knife all the way down the side of the vehicle from front door to rear door. And as we slide towards the rear quarter window, I like the way the trim does not connect. It's just parallel, top and bottom, without having that intersection here on the back. As we swing it around the back, Lincoln does it so well. Long roof spoiler, fully body colored. And then you have your third brake light, and your wiper is tucked underneath there to swoop down, because that gives us the clean look. I think it's so good the way they're spelling out the Lincoln name so people remember how to spell Lincoln. Plus, I don't know, having just that single badge makes it just look a little heavy in the back. Having just the nice thin letters, it looks classier, to me at least. You got your full LED lighting, even the bar that goes all the way across from one side to the other. And then as we go down to ground level, you do have a quad tip exhaust. And the great news is it's functional. The only problem is that it's functional out the bottom. I guess the good news is for people who don't want to clean their Lincolns very much, you don't have to worry about soot on the back bumper area. But at least they're functional. Thank God for that. You do have the cover that's removable because you can tow with this Aviator. But why don't we go ahead, looking good on the outside, let's pop the hood and see what's powering it. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have hood struts. Underneath the hood, you'll notice they put that beefy strut tower brace to stiffen up the front end of the vehicle. No engine cover, so you are gonna see what a modern engine looks like. It's down in there amongst the spaghetti of all the tubes and hoses and wires. The throttle body's actually right there. But that's a twin turbo V6. Obviously, you're looking at a 3-liter twin turbo V6. That's 400 horsepower, 415 pound-feet of torque. It's mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission, 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds. You could tow up to 5,600 pounds. MPGs, 17 in the city, 25 on the highway, and the vehicle weighs 5,142 pounds. Now, some of the other changes for 2025 is that when you approach your Lincoln Aviator in a parking lot or your garage or whatever, there's a little sequence of fancy lighting with the headlights that does a little dance when you approach it. But 400 horsepower ain't bad underneath the hood of this midsize 3-row SUV. But let's go ahead, fire it up, and see it move. All right, guys, we are inside this 2025 Lincoln Aviator Black Label. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I have more kids that I gotta drive around. They each have their different sport: hockey, tennis, volleyball, golf, the list goes on and on. So I definitely need a 3-row. How much is this Aviator? This one being the Black Label, the top dog trim, you're looking at an MSRP of $90,000. Let's see what you get and what are the changes for 2025 to the door panels. I do like the beautiful stitching. You get some nice stitching along the top portion there. You'll notice how they have the seat controls just like you would find on some other luxury vehicles, up high, easy to reach to. You do have massage settings and they're 24-way adjustable. Look at our high-end speaker system. Look at those speaker grill covers, aluminum, both top and bottom. My one zonk is the gloss black around the switch gear for the door locks and the windows. You're gonna get fingerprints on that. But you'll notice that there's not an actual door handle. You just press that button in the center, right in that leather style material. But a very elegant, classy door panel. Door pocket is large enough. You could put 4 Renfest turkey legs in there and a large Diet Pepsi to wash it down. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, more of that great two-tone stitching. We got real wood finish. Look at the way they did the engraving in the wood. Even here, more stitching. There is a bit of gloss black, but you really shouldn't be touching that. Down below, you got a perfect place for a wallet, a purse, a sack. You can even put a fanny pack, maybe even a hat here. You don't want to mess up your Nike hat. You don't want to bend it. You can put it down there. Up top, we have our new 13.2-inch infotainment system. Nice short reach, full touchscreen. And then, of course, we could go into our different settings. We got ambient lighting. Talk about Roy G. Biv. Every color of the rainbow, plus some. And then you could even go into your seats. There's our massage setting. You can move the seats around, both for the passenger and the driver. let's say the kids have been driving you nuts and you need a little relaxed recovery, there you go. And now hopefully your stress level will go down. Namaste on the seats. Now I'm going to throw it into reverse. Backup camera could be a little bit better on the resolution, but the good news is we got our 360-degree camera, and you do have your trajectory lines, which are perfect. Go back to park, go back to home, and this is where we started off. You also have, of course, with the new infotainment system, all the apps. Steven loves apps. He loves an app for everything. He even has an app for when he's supposed to take pictures. So kind of nice the way, technology, everybody's embracing it a little bit differently. The other zonk is that you got to touch the screen to get into the AC controls, but once you pull it up, here's where it's showing you the screens and you can move things around. Here, you actually don't control the vents. You actually control the vents with your hand, not with the screen, which is much better. Heated seats, ventilated seats, all within the screen, and a heated steering wheel. Working our way down, you got the piano keys for your 10-speed automatic. That's also where your start-stop button is. Lincoln badge, more of that nice engraved wood, a real volume knob, and then there is a sea of gloss black. The good news is I think most people are going to have these two doors open. Wireless charging, you got a place for some Tic Tacs, your Lincoln key fob, does have remote start. You got your drive mode selector switch. I'll show you more of that when you come to the business end. Nice stitching, the leather. Open it up, look at all the room. You got a 12 volt, 2 USB-Cs, and you could put, I would say, your 6 bars of silver that your grandfather gave you when he was on his deathbed. You could keep those bars of silver in here. Silver's going up in price, so I would hold on to it for a little while, and then maybe you want to dump it and get some Dogecoin or something, or whatever the new coin name is, some type of crypto crap. If you don't want to drive around with silver bars in your Navigator or your Aviator or any of the Lincolns. I like the idea of driving around with some silver. Then you can show it off. Seats, the leather, 24-way adjustable. Look at the piping. Look at all of the beautiful custom work that they do to the seats. You'll notice the seat controls, like I said, are not on the seat itself. That's going to give you wider cushion for the pushing of your body. And then up top, Alcantara, as soft as a teddy bear. Speakers in the headliner, and you do have a panoramic sunroof with a power shade. So nice to have that. Coming over though, I want to show you behind the wheel of this Aviator. All right guys, business time behind the wheel. You do have 3 memory seat settings for the driver's seat. Love the Lincoln badge, illuminates, nice LED lighting. And then you got, like I said, the seat controls are not here. That gives you more seat, which is gonna make you feel more comfortable. I'm 6 feet tall, plenty of headroom. Steering wheel, you got leather all the way around. Leather with the stitching, even leather on the horn button with some nice stitching. Thumb controllers, and then you do have paddles to go up and down the 10-speed automatic. And this is a power tilting and telescoping wheel. And then of course you have that beautiful digital gauge cluster. You could go through your different modes. Deep conditions, slippery when wet, that Bon Jovi mode. You can conserve, hug a tree and go into conserve mode, or you could go excite. That's the way I'm rolling. Let me know if you like the gauge cluster, the way that it's displayed. Plus you have Blue Cruise, which is that autonomous hands-free driving. But why don't we go ahead, let's get into the mid-row and see if your passenger is going to be happy you went Lincoln. All right guys, mid-row time, and just like up front, you're going to get these really nice, almost like a bespoke seat, the way they do the stitching and the piping and everything. This is what I love to see. On the American brands, especially Lincoln, they do such nice captain's chairs, armrests, big and meaty. Soft touch on the back of the seat. You do have large pockets where you could put a copy of Business Monthly or your Money Marketing Manager magazines. And then on the back of the command center, you actually have a small touch screen that allows you to adjust ventilation and heating on the mid-row seats, which are nice. Plus, you could also adjust your AC. Plus, you could even bring up things like audio, change the music, that kind of stuff back here. So nice to see that. You got your air vents. And then down below, we do have 2 USB-Cs and a home power source. Now, I'm 6 feet tall, plenty of room back here. The seats do slide, which is nice. And of course, they recline just a little bit. And then you have this nice little command center for the rear seat passengers. In here, you could put some books. You got 2 USB-Cs. Maybe you could put like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, maybe A Tale of Two Cities. You got a place for 4 Twinkies and 2 large cup holders. Plus, I can operate the power shade for the panoramic sunroof from the back seat. I like that because a lot of times if you're back here and the driver has the shade open, you might be cooking back here like a Thanksgiving Day turkey. Instead of having to ask them to close the sunshade, you could do it yourself. But why don't we go ahead, let's get in that 3rd row and see if it's gonna be comfy for your passengers sitting back there. All right, guys, we're in this 3rd row of the Aviator. And what I could pretty much say is that I'm in the 3rd row. It's not the comfiest. My knees are way too high, way too high. Sit in the back of a Navigator, you know the size difference between an Aviator and a Navigator. It's manageable though. I mean, maybe I could go for about 30 minutes back here. I have AC vents, which is a blessing, cup holders, and you do have 2 USB-Cs, but they're both on that side. So hopefully you're friends with whoever you're sitting with back here, and hopefully you both showered, because if you didn't, it might get a little stinky because you're sitting really close to them and you need to run your cord right across their chest. But other than that, like I said, you do have the room if you have the people that you need to stuff back here. But why don't we go ahead, talking about stuffing, let's get to the cargo area and see what we could put in this Aviator. All right, guys, cargo area time. We're gonna do it the old-fashioned way. You hit the button, nice electric assist. I have the 3rd row up to let you see what it looks like. The amount of space you're looking at is 18.3 cubic feet of space. We fold the 3rd row down, that's gonna give you 41.8 cubic feet of space. You fold down the mid row, that's gonna give you almost 78 cubic feet of space. Now to fold down the 3rd row, first we need to get these headrests down, and you're gonna use these little pull tabs there. Down below on the passenger side, we got our 12 volt, and then we have our controls for the seats. Look at that, one touch operation, electric, dropping, 3rd row. And then here's where you could clearly see where the AC vents are in that 3rd row when I was sitting back there. Now, like I said, you fold the mid row, that's gonna give you almost 78 cubic feet of space. It's like 77.77779 cubic feet of space. But why don't we go ahead, we got 400 horsepower and all-wheel drive. Let's go for a little spin in this Black Label Aviator. All right, guys, we're leaving Parks Lincoln here in Tampa, and we're behind the wheel of the 2025 Lincoln Aviator, and this being the top dog trim, this is the Black Label. Now, right away, very easy to settle in and be used to the landing here. And it's nice to see the updates that they brought for model year 2025 to the Lincoln Aviator, not only especially on the inside, but also on the outside as well. Getting to that 13.2-inch infotainment system screen, well within reach. And I know some people aren't the biggest fans of this sort of like iPad style screen, but what I can say about it is, first of all, I like the way it's horizontally displayed. I'm not really the biggest fan of the portrait style infotainment systems. The other thing is where it's placed, it's so easy to reach and to access what you need. And that's gonna be important because, like I pointed out earlier, all your controls are in the infotainment system for things like your AC, the dual climate control, and those heated and ventilated seats, which we have 3 stages apiece, and the heated steering wheel. But it's very, very intuitive, very easy to use. You have the nice, large, over 12-inch digital gauge cluster, and that massive head-up display in here. Going Black Label just spoils you. I mean, it's crazy to think of how much comfort and luxury that Lincoln can bring into this 400 horsepower mid-size 3-row SUV. And then on top of that, if you're an audiophile and you love listening to music, having that premium sound system with 28 speakers in this vehicle is gonna definitely be pleasing to your ears as you're going down the road. But one of the things that I think is the biggest takeaway is how Lincoln is really trying to focus on the interior being like a place to rejuvenate, almost like a spa on wheels. And that's what they're trying to give you with those massage seats. You know, we've talked about with the introduction of the redesigned Nautilus, bringing the different scents into the vehicle. And that's something that I'm very curious to see how Lincoln is going to progress with that as they go through the different model years and make different changes. But I think for those who maybe are on the fence of the larger infotainment system and screen system that's in the upcoming Navigator and in the current Nautilus, this is a great bridge between the two, because you have the large digital gauge cluster, but it's separate from the infotainment system. And just like the other Lincolns, you can access your different drive modes. What they call basically sport mode in Lincoln land is going to be Excite. And that's going to adjust how the engine and the transmission behave with one another, throttle sensitivity and steering sensitivity. Now, one of the things that I immediately notice driving this Aviator is you got that 10-speed automatic transmission. Shifts very smooth, and one thing to be aware of is that it seems to always know what gear to be in. It's not chasing through the gears of the 10-speed. Another thing is the good steering feel. Sometimes in certain luxury vehicles, it's like the steering wheel moves, but you really have no feel to it. I really like the feedback that I'm getting from the electric steering rack in this Aviator. And the fact that, remember, this platform is rear-wheel drive base, but yet we have that all-wheel drive that keeps us nice and secure. And then if you want to go through the 10-speed automatic manually, you have that capability by using the paddles on the back of the steering wheel. But just like obviously other Lincolns, the leather, the materials, everything is a nice high level. And just being able to drive this vehicle in just day-to-day traffic, if you're stepping up from a Corsair, maybe you're coming from a rival OEM brand, and you're stepping up from one of their smaller crossover SUVs and you've never been behind the wheel of a midsize 3-row, I think that the way that the Aviator has great visibility and all of the safety features, and it's easy to figure out where all four corners of the vehicle are. It's not going to be too cumbersome to navigate even in the tightest of traffic or the tightest of city streets. All right, guys, obviously we always like to show some of the handling characteristics and the handling dynamics. And even though this isn't a high performance SUV, for lack of a better word, even though it's got 400 horsepower, quite a bit of horsepower, you still want to be able to see how the car handles and how it drives. So we're going to go down this twisty section of road here and just see how the feedback in this Aviator is. And like I was saying, just the way the suspension is tuned, the steering feedback, and of course that twin turbo V6, 400 horsepower. You're getting a nice sound within the cabin, and it's just really smooth. That's the thing you're gonna love about this Aviator. It's just super smooth going down the road. All right, guys, if you're ready, I'm ready. On throttle, here we go. Like I said, gets the power to the ground, good shifting, and then of course the driving dynamics, very composed, feels good, looks good, and that's what you want. You want to feel confident, and you want to feel good when you're behind the wheel of what you're spending your hard-earned money on. But I'm hoping that with this Aviator, you've been able to see with this drive just how comfortable it is, how composed it is, but also how the new technology and the changes that they made to not only the outside, but the inside really helps with the driving experience. We're gonna get back to Parks Lincoln and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a nanosecond. All right, guys, another great day in so many ways here at Parks Lincoln. Definitely want to thank the General Sales Manager, Craig, and of course, Kevin, for getting us access to this 2025 Lincoln Aviator Black Label. Let me know what you think. Is this the one that you would buy if you were going luxury 3-row midsize SUV? Let me know down in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raised Rights family. Got to give it up to Stephen Flood. Stephen Flood loves Lincolns. Not so much Lincoln the SUV, but Lincoln as an Abraham Lincoln. He has a coin collection with an amazing set of nickels and pennies and dimes. It's amazing what Stephen has amassed in his coin collection. So thank you, Stephen, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.